Hi, Rachel. Do you have a second? Your brother and I have something to tell you. Hey, Katie, of course. What is it? Mark and I are having a baby. I'm 3 months pregnant now. What? Oh my gosh! Congratulations! We better throw a baby shower soon then. Oh, we're fine, thank you. I'm sure we'd be better off planning and celebrating for ourselves than leaving it to you. I'm sorry, what? I didn't reach out to you just to let you know that I was pregnant. I actually had a very important favor to ask of you. Once the baby in my belly is born, I'd like to ask you to never show yourself in front of us again. I need to make sure that our child doesn't grow up seeing you as a role model. Are you serious? So you're suggesting that we stop being family? Yes! I'm never going to get to see the two of you or the baby. Exactly. I'm sorry, it's been very difficult being around a high school graduate lowlife myself. And it's even more out of the question to be forcing my own child to be around one. So I'll be maintaining a good distance with you from now on. Wow, just wow. And before you even ask, yes, Mark 100% agrees with this. You know, I would even go as far as to say that he was the one who came up with the whole idea in the first place. That we should distance ourselves from you since you're a high school graduate. I'm glad that the two of us have felt the same way about this matter. You two have always treated me like this. You know that I wanted to go to college too. I had no choice but to start work because that's what our family needed. The company that your parents were running went out of business, right? I've heard that you were all struggling to get by for a while. Our parents were able to find different jobs after that and worked for years. That's the only reason why Mark was able to go to college, unlike me. Are you still going to make fun of me while knowing all of that? I mean, I do feel bad for you, but then again, a high school graduate is a high school graduate, and that's that. Society won't take into account why your educational background is the way it is. Seriously. Through my educated eyes, you people are all the same. And it hurts my eyes when I have to watch you uneducated people make all of these excuses as to why you were unable to get a proper education. It really brings out your lack of dignity. Why is it that the worse the educational background, the more excuses people have? I would never make an excuse if I was in your shoes. So what you're trying to say is, regardless of what I say, the words that come out of my mouth are still those of a high school graduate, so you don't care. Whatever, I get what you're trying to tell me. If that's what you want, then I won't show myself in front of the two of you ever again after your child is born. I was scared that you wouldn't understand me, so I'm glad you do. I'll be headed then. Goodbye!
Rachel, guess what? I now live in an apartment in the middle of the city inside a skyscraper. I'm officially on top of the world.
Oh, wow, that's great. Did you two decide to move in preparation to welcome the child?
Yeah, I read that the location at which you live significantly affects the child's educational outcome. I mean, you can see that it's true from me and Katie. We both grew up in the city, and now we're both graduates from prestigious universities, and work at mega companies. I'm sure our child is going to turn out as bright as the two of us, so we better make sure their environment doesn't drag them down.
I agree. I think it's important for a parent to prioritize education. I've also read that the location the child grows up greatly affects their drive towards achieving well in school.
Exactly! I mean, it's common sense that if you live with idiots, then you'll become one yourself. And in order to avoid that from happening, Kitty and I are raising our child in the best and brightest environment that we could provide.
That's great. Your apartment must really be amazing.
Yeah, it's the type of place that someone with an educational background like you could only dream of. I've heard rumors of celebrities living there, and apparently, it even houses CEOs and managers from all kinds of big companies. That's why the school that's built nearby is one of the best in the state.
Wow, the rent must really be expensive.
Yeah, the room itself is also really luxurious too. It's pretty spacious and has a great view. Sorry to show off like this, but I'm sure you can live somewhere like this if you can go ahead and graduate from college. It probably isn't too late. In fact, I'll invite you over so you can take a look.
You're inviting me over. I thought you hated people who aren't graduated from a nice college. Why would you invite me to your house?
As you've heard from Katie, you'll never see her or me again once our child is born. So I thought it would be nice to have a chance to say our last goodbye. And also, you'll probably never get the chance again. So I thought it would be a kind act to let you come over. I'll even let you take pictures to hang on your wall once you go home.
You know what? I'd love to go. I'm genuinely curious to see what type of luxurious place you'll be living in, so thank you for inviting me.
Of course! As the French once said, noblesse oblige. Let us nobles be empathetic for the poor. You know, Katie and I's total annual income has just exceeded $200,000. It sounds like a dream even to me. I'll show you a view that you'll never be able to forget.
Hello, Rachel. Thank you for coming over today. I always thought that the poor people never had the time or mental space to be wasting their time. But I guess I was wrong. Thank you for making time for us in your busy schedule. Do you never get bored of making fun of me? And you have something to say to me before anything else, don't you? What the hell was that? Why would you throw coins at me when I was leaving? I mean, you brought some gifts with you as congratulations for moving in, didn't you? Well, I was raised to always give back for anything given. We're never seeing each other again, so I thought it would be a good idea to give back to you right there on the spot. Give back. Do you consider throwing coins at me as giving back to me? Oh my, do you not? I thought that the cheap-looking flowers in the vase that you brought today were worth a few dollars. If I'm giving back something of the same value, then I thought a few coins would fit for that. How could you say that? You know, I've always expected you to be poor, but I never expected you to be this poor. I mean, who brings that kind of obviously cheap thing as a gift for others? Those flowers that you gave me made me sure of my theory. People who aren't educated properly have no choice but to become poor. I'd like to thank you for making me reassure myself that I'll never make my children become like you. I chose my present myself, just for the two of you. I heard that you two were moving into a nice apartment, so I thought some flowers and a nice vase would bring the whole interior together. That vase is an artwork that was made by a famous potter. I won't tell you the price because it's a gift, but it's a very nice gift and you should appreciate it. Whatever. You don't have to try so hard to make yourself seem like something that you're not. Through the educated eyes of my husband and I, we can obviously tell that this vase isn't worth anything more than a few dollars. Did you get it at Dollar Tree? Wait, let me guess. You just made it yourself so that you wouldn't have to spend money, didn't you? Seriously. However you got it, it doesn't matter anymore. I'm sorry, but my husband and I have already thrown away the flowers and the vase that you bought today. I see that you chose it yourself. But it just emits some sort of poor, malicious energy that we couldn't take. There was no other choice. I'm sorry. How rude of you. All I wanted to do was congratulate you on beginning a new chapter, and this is what you do in return? I've already gotten used to you making fun of my educational background, but this is just purely heartless of you. I can't take this anymore. Well, then it's great timing, isn't it? We're never going to see each other again, so you can hate us all you want. You'll never have to see us again, and we'll never have to see you either. I mean, I hope so, but I have a feeling that I'm going to have to see you again. What are you talking about? There's no way we're ever wasting another minute talking to you. We're officially strangers now, which means that you'll never be stepping foot in our house either. What a bummer. I'm glad that you at least got to see what a nice house meant for educated and rich people looks like. I'm sorry to break it to you, but I own this building. What? It's true that a lot of people who live here have great educational backgrounds, but it's not like I made that a rule as the owner. I don't care about where you came from as long as you're able to pay the rent. And I don't appreciate how you feel entitled enough to make the rules around here when I literally make them myself. I get that you're mad, but making obvious lies doesn't help your situation, honey. Whether you believe it or not, I own this building, and that's all there is to it. The room that you showed to me, as if you owned the whole world, that room is mine, and you're paying me to live in it. If you don't believe me, come on over to the top floor. You'll see the whole floor is my house. The whole top floor? You two look so dumb when you were telling me that I'd never live in such a nice place. Every cent that you spend to live here comes to me, for God's sake. Are you kidding? How is that possible? In what world would a high school graduate own a building like this? You're lying to feel better about yourself, aren't you? You can even look at the papers that you signed to finalize the moving in process. You'll see that the room is under my name. Really? I don't care what you want to believe, but if you're going to keep trying to believe that I'm lying, then take a look at it and then bother me. I'll be going then. I'm still furious at the two of you. The coins that you threw at me will be going to donation, by the way.
Rachel, answer the phone right now. How on earth did you end up owning a building like this? This is impossible.
Looks like you finally took a proper look at the papers. How did you not notice anything when you were signing them, for God's sakes?
Even if they had the same name as you, I never thought it would be you. I just thought you had the same name as the owner by coincidence. I mean, who would think that it's their high school graduate sister that owns this place? You're supposed to be a poor lowlife.
Yes, I would be a poor lowlife if I hadn't worked as hard as I did.
What?
No matter how much the two of you would harass me, I stayed focused on my work and brought myself to this position. After paying off our parents' debt, I earned countless certificates to qualify for all kinds of jobs. One of the many jobs that I'd experienced was caretaking. On that job, I ended up working as a caretaker for a wealthy madam who worked alone in her mansion.
At a mansion?
Yes, I got sent there by coincidence at first, but she really liked the way I did things. She ended up scouting me to work for her personally, so I left my company and worked as her personal caretaker.
What kind of fairy tale scenario is that?
I took very good care of her until she passed away years later. In the end, it turned out that she left all of her inheritance under my name.
And you're saying that this building was part of that inheritance?
Yes, this is one of the many buildings and apartments that she left behind for me.
What the hell? All you had to do was take care of some rich old lady for a few years and you got all of that? That's not supposed to happen in real life.
Well, it did, and now I'm the owner of the apartment that you live in. The madam told me that she had to struggle quite a bit when she was younger, and that she was the same as me, a high school graduate. Because of that, her marriage got cancelled and she was harassed at her workplace for years. She said I reminded her of herself.
The old lady never went to college either?
Isn't it amazing? No matter what the odds or what anyone else said to her, she still kept working towards her goals. In the end, she became the queen of real estate in this area. I mean, she was rich enough to hire a personal caretaker, so that says a lot about her wealth. I earned tons and gained a lot of inspiration in the last few years that I was by her side.
But why on earth would you hide that all from me? Not even Mom or Dad know that you have this much wealth, do they?
Of course Mom and Dad know everything about this. They were the first people that I told.
Really?
Yeah, I even suggested that they started living with me, but they said they're going to pass on the offer. That they were glad I was happy and that they want me to live my own life since they took so much away from me when I was young.
Then why didn't you tell me too?
Why did you think that I would even think about telling you? Do you not remember how many times you made fun of me for not having gone to college? I'm not bored enough to deal with you. Anyways, when are you planning to leave your apartment? I hope you're already beginning to pack your things up.
What do you mean? Why would we move out? We just moved here.
You wouldn't want to live in an apartment owned by a high school graduate, would you? I mean, solely judging by the way you and your wife persistently harassed me for years about my educational background, of course. Seems only logical that you move out to avoid paying such a person for living. Or do you plan on continuing to live in my apartment? Because if that's the case, then you probably won't be able to achieve your goal of never letting your baby see me. And besides, your pride as an elite probably couldn't handle the fact that someone below you is literally living on top of you, could you?
I don't believe this. I'm supposed to be the successful one out of the two of us. But even if it's below you, this room is still something that I worked hard to earn. And I paid tons of initial fees. I just can't move out right away. I even invited some friends to come check it out. I can't back out now.
Whatever, I don't care whether you keep living here or move out. As the owner of your room, the only thing I care about is that you pay me your rent. Well then, it's good doing business with you. Hey Rachel, I just have a quick question if you don't mind. Do you think you could give us a discount on the rent as the owner, or could you possibly move us to a higher floor for the same amount of rent? Is that even a real question? No, I won't allow either of those things. Come on, Rachel, aren't we sisters? I'm sure you could work something out for us. Please? How many personalities do you have? Do you think I'm just going to forget about the evil stepsister that harassed me for years? I finally had an epiphany. It's just wrong and stupid to make fun of people for their educational background. You couldn't possibly measure a person's worth with such a superficial trait. I'll apologize for every single thing I've done and said that offended you, so let's start over as besties. Seriously. Yes, aren't you glad to finally have the loving little sister that you always wanted? We should go and have some tea together sometime. I'm pregnant, but I'm still doing well enough to go out on my own. If you're so bored, then why don't you just go get a proper job? I'm sure your college degree would get you a decent job. Maybe you'll finally be able to quit your part-time job. What? I hate to break it to you, but I know everything about you two. As the owner, I have the right to check your annual incomes. You two have been telling me that you're elites who work for mega companies. $200,000 a year. Why the hell would you lie about that? I know that you two only make $60,000 a year combined, and you only have a part-time job. How? Where did you find out? I found out when the two of you tried to move in. I heard that the real estate company declined the two of you because of your annual salaries. And that you two were making excuses that you'd just been fired recently. And that you'd been making $200,000 a year until last year. Mark promised that he would be promoted and would make as much as he used to right away, right? And that you'd get a proper job as soon as you could. How do you know the exact lines of our conversation? You even showed them your student IDs from college, right? Do you really think student IDs from years ago mean anything at all in the real world? How? The real estate agency contacted me right away. And I said you can move in since it's all up to me in the end. All because I cut you some slack as your older sister. Really? But what do you do in return? Try to negotiate prices and pay less. I don't think I've ever met anyone as greedy as you. If you have time to be negotiating prices with me, then why don't you find a job? As you promised, go ahead and show that you're an elite. Of course, that's exactly what I'm planning on doing. It's just that I'm pregnant right now. And I heard that Mark isn't doing too well at his workplace either. Look, I don't care about the reason why you two ended up getting fired from your previous jobs. But you better keep every single promise that you made at the office. If you even make one delayed payment, you're out. Isn't that a bit harsh? I think it's great that you two care enough about your child to move just to give them a good learning environment. But biting off more than you can chew is never a good idea. I heard the preschools around here cost tens of thousands per year, and that's just the beginning. Kids cost more and more as they get older. What? Preschools here cost that much? Did you not look up the living expenses around here before moving in? I mean, we just thought that the living in the city would be enough. Breathing the same air and seeing the same sights as smart people is important in raising a smart child, right? Living in a nice environment won't automatically make your kids smarter. Isn't that common sense? I think the two of you should have a nice, long talk about the future, compare your income with the living expenses around here, and come back to me with an answer. Because things won't always go your way just because you went to a nice university. I found out later on, but the reason that the two of them got fired from their jobs in the first place was simply because they were bad at what they did. They would go around harassing people who didn't go to nice schools like them, but wouldn't do much work either and ended up getting fired. After a conversation, the two properly compared their earnings with their expenses. Told me later that week that they would give up their dream apartment. After that, I heard that they moved into a cheaper apartment. Sometimes I receive texts from Katie asking me to support her child's educational fees, and that they want to make their kids get into the top schools in the nation. But I just send pictures of the view from my apartment in response.